Hello everybody, I am Dinesh Kumar Pagar, PGT English, from Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Bid, Maharashtra, and we are going to discuss clauses. Okay, let us see. Let us start from the basic first. The first question that I would like to ask you, that what is the definition of word that we are using in every language? What is the definition of word? Simple and easy definition of word is that an alphabet or speech sounds or a mixture of two or more alphabets or speech sounds in written or spoken language, form of language, to communicate a specific meaning. Means two things are important. One is alphabet, and in that one is alphabet, second one is speech sound when you are using it in spoken form, but when they are mixed together, the major thing is they should have meaning, then only they are the words. Next question is that what is a sentence? The way we discussed what is word, like that what is sentence. For that also there is one definition, and it is sentence is a word or group of words that expresses through idea in the form of a statement or order or question or exclamation. It consists of a main clause and sometimes one or more subordinate clauses. A group of words which must have some idea, some meaning, and it is expressed through either statement or question or order. And very specifically, what is important, then it consists of main clause and number of subordinate clauses. Correct? Clauses. What we are going to study is clauses. So students, let us start how to differentiate these clauses from phrases, because one more concept is the phrase. We started with word, we went to sentence, then one more concept, phrase and clause. Generally they are little confusing to us. Let us understand by differentiating them that what is the difference between phrase and clause. What is phrase? Then phrase does not include subject and verb relationship, whereas a clause has a group of related words with subject and verb. Means, if we take one example, my best friend, and for clause John is my best friend, you can very easily understand that here there is no verb, but here John is subject and even verb is also there. Correct? For better understanding, here there is no subject, no verb relationship, or that relationship in phrase, so no meaning if used alone. When phrase comes alone without subject and verb format, then that group of words is called as phrase. Whereas a group of words having subject and verb and it has complete sentence with SVO structure, at the same time it got some meaning, then it is called as clause. Phrase, clause. Group of words without subject and verb. Clause, group of words with subject and verb, but must have a meaning, though it is used as individual or separate. Let us talk about the definition of clause. What is clause? Okay, so clause is a group of words forming a part of sentence and which has its own subject and predicate. Subject, that is the door of action, and the remaining part of the sentence is called as predicate. Okay, so let us come to know something more about it. Suppose we take one example of a clause. Then what is clause? Already we discussed that there is subject and verb. If I take this example, that he told me that Rahul was an honest boy. This is a sentence. If we separate this sentence, suppose let us separate it, then it will be, for our understanding, we are taking it like this sentence. A1 is he told me, and another one is Rahul was an honest boy. Both the sentences are having subject and both of them are having predicate also. So when you have a sentence, maybe they got some 2 parts or 3 parts, and in every part or every section of that sentence there is subject and predicate, and they exhibit some meaning. Then they are clauses, but in that again some difference is there that we are going to discuss in the coming slide. Let us see what is next. This is called as clause number 1. This is called as clause number 2, because there are separate subject and predicate, and 2 sentences are connected with one conjunction. These 2 are clauses because subject and verb is there, or subject and predicate is there, and in one sentence there may be number of clauses. Okay, next. Again, we are going to understand it in a deeper way. That is, that same sentence, he told me that Rahul was an honest boy. Rahul was an honest boy. He told me. Again, I am separating it for making you understand that what is the difference between these 2 clauses. Then it is this, that when the individual sentence, it's a complete sentence because it gives the complete meaning. In the given sentence, suppose I say just one line or one sentence that he told me, you can understand what I am trying to say. But suppose if I am saying the second one, only the second one, that Rahul was an honest boy, what about that? The meaning is not that much clear, or not at all clear. So when the main sentence or the main clause which is having complete meaning, though it is single, then also it gives meaning, it is called as principal clause or independent clause. Same clause which does not have to depend on anyone, it is independent or main, so it is called as principal clause or independent clause. Whereas this clause, that is that Rahul was an honest boy, it is not complete sentence because it does not give the complete meaning. It has to depend on the first sentence. When we say the first sentence that he told me, then only the meaning of this second clause gets clear. Means this clause has to depend on this first clause. It becomes the principal independent clause, and it is called as subordinate or dependent clause. Subordinate or dependent clause. Okay. Let us talk about independent clause. What is independent clause? Then the clause that can stand by itself and still make sense. It can stand by itself, single, and still, what is important? It makes sense. It gives some meaning. It conveys some sense. An independent clause could be its own sentence, but is combined with other independent clauses or dependent clauses. Independent clause is also called as essential clause or restrictive clause. This clause can be added with dependent clause, which is also called as subordinate clause. So it can be added with it, then also it has a meaning, but standing alone, then also it gives a clear meaning. So it is called as independent clause or main clause. Let us take some examples. First one, example of independent clause. The soccer team traveled to Boston and they won their division. Now in this sentence, let me be very clear that though this conjunction is there, then also if we take this sentence and that's another sentence, we find that the soccer team traveled to Boston. Clear meaning, there is no issue. They won their division, means they are not interrelated. This clause is not depending on this clause is not depending on this clause, means some sentences are made up of both main clause or independent clause. They don't have any need of any independent clause to clear the meaning. Okay, one more example. I shuffled the employees and Jayesh took them to the I shuffled all the envelopes and Jayesh took them to the post office. Two actions which are added with and conjunction. I stuffed all the envelopes. I stuffed all the envelopes. Clear meaning. Just took them to the post office. That is also a clear meaning. Means when independent clauses are there, they have subject predicate and they don't depend on any other clause. Next. Same one more meaning. I did all the work, but he took the credit. I did all the work, he took the credit. No issue. I am new at PowerPoint. I like it. Means few clauses does not depend on another clause. Such all clauses are called as independent clause. They have their own meaning, though they are standby at themselves. Okay. Next. For more understanding or for better understanding, this simple formula, handwise, should be kept in mind. That will make you to keep it in mind that which are those conjunctions which are carrying both independent clauses with them. For that, this is important. What is the meaning of this coordinating conjunction? A word that joins two elements of equal grammatic rank. Equal grammatic rank. What kind of equal grammatic rank? Then it may be two verbs which are equal. It may be two nouns which are equal. Even two adjectives, two phrases, and very important, two independent clauses. These words which joins means all those conjunctions which join two equally ranked grammatical items and they have their own equal importance, equal meaning, separate meaning. They don't depend on each other. Such type of conjunctions are called as coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions. For that I told you to keep it in mind. Fanboys, why I said this? Because of this. The list of coordinating conjunctions is this, that F for, A for and, N for not, B for but, O for or, Y for yet, and S for so. If these conjunctions are used in any sentence, the clear meaning is both the clauses to either side are independent clause. Independent clause because they are equally ranked. Okay, and when these coordinators are used, we are calling them coordinating conjunctions. These conjunctions, that is for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Fan, boys, for our understanding we just abbreviated it. So these conjunctions are giving one signal, one simple idea or one simple trick to keep it in mind that when these conjunctions are used means both the clauses which are used in that sentence are independent clause. Independent clause. Okay. Next. What is dependent clause then? Let us talk about that one also. Dependent clause. A dependent clause or a subordinate clause is a group of words. It is a group of words. This is also a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. It also got subject and verb. But condition is there. But that does not express a complete thought. It does not have complete thought or complete idea. Okay. Means it is depending on some other clause to clear the concept or to clear the idea or to clear the thought. A dependent clause cannot be a sentence. It can't be called as a sentence. Independent clause can be a sentence standing alone. But dependent clause always depends on the independent clause or main clause. So often a dependent clause is marked by a dependent marker word conjunction. Okay, let us take one example. It will make clear. Suppose the sentence is when Virat hit the ball high in the sky. Virat is hitting a ball high in the sky. Then what? Means just by reading this line, listening this line, the thing is not clear. We get something incomplete. What happened when he hit? The thought is incomplete. Now, if we have to make it clear, we have to add something here, and that will become the independent clause. What this clause is depending. When Virat hit the ball high in the sky, it went out of the boundary. No doubt he is Virat. So it has to go out of boundary. So then the sentence will get clear. The meaning will get clear. Suppose if you check these examples and particularly these lines which are made red in color, you won't get any meaning if you read those only. For example, whom he asked? Nothing. The officer whom he asked for directions was very kind. The officer whom he asked, means it is pointing to the officer, for directions was very kind. When we speak this main clause, then only the dependent clause and its meaning gets clear. Next example is because he answered so politely. Because he answered so politely, the man called to compliment the officer. When this sentence is added, then only its meaning is getting clear. The chief of the police was pleased by what he had heard. What he had heard? No meaning. The chief police was pleased. He was happy. When the next sentence is that is one supplementary, that for his happiness it is explaining. That's all. Otherwise, the chief police officer was pleased. That's all. It is clear. But when we say what he had heard, meaning is not. So, dependent clause is depending on the independent clause. Both of them are having subject and verb, but basically dependent clause is always carrying a marker word, dependent marker word. That word which is explaining that it is depending on the independent clause. Okay, these are the dependent marker words. Next. Now it is essential to know what are the types of clauses. Already we have studied the main branch of the tree, that is, or you can say stem clause. Its two parts, one is principal, another one is subordinate. This principal is also called as independent, this is called as dependent. Independent, okay, it is independent, it does not have to do with anything with the clauses, subclauses. So these subordinate clauses are divided into three different clauses. One is called as noun clause, adjective clause and adverb clause. What are these clauses? That also we are going to discuss. Prior to that, let us talk about the main types first and then we will go one by one. Adverb clause, they are again divided into these many, that is conditional clause or conditional adverbial clause or adverb clause of time, adverb clause of reason, adverb clause of place and adverb clause of effect. These are different types. Out of that we have come up to this. Let us talk about the remaining. Come on. Dependent marker word, those are to be known the way I told you about. And boys, in that same way here also few coordinating words are there, conjunctions are there, those must be known to you. The dependent marker word is a word added to the beginning of the independent clause that makes it into a dependent clause. If you separate that particular marker word, then possibly it may turn to be one independent clause. But when that word is added, at once it becomes dependent on the main clause or principal clause. Okay. So again I will read. A dependent marker word is a word added to the beginning of the independent clause. When it is added with that independent clause, means it has to go and depend on the main clause or the principal clause, and that makes it a dependent clause. Let us see which are they. For time, it is very easy. If any clause or any independent clause is added with after, then it becomes dependent clause. As soon as, until, whenever, now that. Next one, for reason, very easy to answer also. By just seeing those words, you will understand that these are narrating the reason of some action. That is because, since, so that, in order, that, as. as we are interested in clauses, we are studying its main clause. As is that marker word as. Okay, next. Condition. As I said that for dependent clause there is condition. What type of condition we, or what kind of word is that creates that condition? It may be if only, unless, provided that. Next, place. Very easy. Where, wherever. If these words or these conjunctions are there, then if these conjunctions are there, then that independent clause turns to be dependent clause. One more is the manner. That is how, as though, as if. Means what rules are applicable for adverb, that is place, time, condition or manner. That's those same rules are applicable for adverb clause also. Okay, only difference is it is a word, this is a clause. Next, how to identify different clauses. Some basic connectors, conjunctions, they are tending to the clause. Suppose there is that, means it is noun clause. It is what, where, who, which, adjective. What, where, who, which, adjective. When we are talking about adverb clause, there are many in number. That is conditional clause. Already I said if, unless, provided, in case. Time adverb, when, whenever, till, until. A big list is there. Reason adverb, that is giving reason. Since, because, for, as. Place of adverb, where, wherever, and effect, so, so that. The previous slide again given in a chart form to keep it in mind, to better understand. And you want to just, you can say that if this chart is there in your mind, very easily you will be able to identify that what clause is there. As it is said that first clause is noun clause. Let us see what is noun clause. Noun clause. Noun clause is a subordinate clause that used as noun within the main clause of a sentence. What noun performs in any sentence, in that same way, that same kind of work is done by noun clause. Is a subordinate clause that is used as noun. It is a subordinate clause and it is used as noun in the sentence. You can use noun clause as a subject. For our understanding, we can say that the whole noun clause is nothing but one subject of the sentence. It can be also a direct object. You might have studied passive voice, in that you might have been taught by your teachers what is direct object, indirect object and object of preposition, that is the preposition related with the noun. Here it is noun clause. With example we will get it. Words that introduce noun clause are, already this big list is given to you in the previous slide also. How if the main word that is highlighted in the slide was that, sometimes it is what. Okay, depending on it. Let us go ahead. Examples. Here it is used as a subject. What Mary Com did, it is a dependent clause, subclause. It is working as a subject. Was brave and earned her praise from everywhere. What Mary Com did is one subject, and then it is telling about that subject that was brave and earned her praise from everyone. In this sentence, it is used as an object. He finally discovered what he discovered. Means the action of discovering is working on this object, that is what the answer was. That is direct object. She finally discovered what the answer was. Okay. The clerk should tell whoever calls the sale prices, indirect object. Actually, this is the direct object. Whoever calls is indirect object or used as indirect object. The clerk should tell. What he should tell? Whoever calls the sale prices, that is indirect object which is added with whoever. He checks the ID cards of whoever visits, of whom whoever visits, object of preposition, of whom, then object of preposition. Means noun clause can be used as subject, as an object, indirect object, or object of preposition. Okay. Next one is adjective clause. Adjective clauses function as adjective. What is adjective? The way adjective modifies noun or modify pronoun, in that same way adjective clause is also often introduced by relative pronouns. That is that whatever, which, whichever. Whatever clause is there that modifies the clause, or that modifies that main clause, that is modifies the noun. That is the work of adjective. What modifies the main clause, that is adjective clause. This is the class. This is noun class. Now it is talking about this class, so that I like the best. The main clause in that this is noun, and as it is modifying, this sentence is modifying this noun, so it is adjective clause. It is also called as relative clause. Next. My classes which meet in room 209. My classes are all freshman classes. My classes are all freshman classes. This is the main sentence. Out of that, my classes, this classes is noun. To explain it, some other adjective, one word is there, then it would have been adjective. Here one complete clause is there. So, which is that conjunctive word, and that classes is explained that meet in room number 209. So this is adjective clause. Mother, who enjoys reading, own a membership of the central library. Now this particular line or this particular clause is talking about Madhav, but it is again added with this adjective clause, that who enjoys reading. Madhav owns a membership of Central Library. It is the main sentence. This adjective clause, who enjoys reading, is explaining this Madhav. Last one, they are ones whom I prefer or teach. Obviously, it is explaining to this pronoun. Next. Last one, which again got some more varieties. Adverb clause, a subordinate clause that modifies or describes a verb. In the main clause, what verb is there? It is described by this adverb clause. It tells when, where, how, why, to what extent, or under what condition the action has been taken. In what condition the action? Action means obviously verb. When we think of action, means it is verb. I found him dead when I reached there. This is talking about adverb clause of time. Means when. I was happy because means reason. I was happy. Why I am happy? Then because means this particular complete line is explaining about this verb. You and your brother may come with us if you want to something. You want to means if you want to. This sentence is talking about condition. Now, you and your brother may come with us if you want. Situation is very clear that this particular clause is used as a conditional clause of adverb. Last one, conditional clause of manner, and it is shown through this clause, that faster than I do. Okay, let us move ahead. There are some sentences which are from different clauses. Those you should read, and what you are supposed to do, you are supposed to identify the clause. The house where whenever the hostess wouldn't sit us because Have you played with the game that I am responsible for what? We can go swimming when, if you promise, if the car, that. What words I underlined? With that also you can understand that what type of dependent clause is used in these sentences. Okay, if you have done it, your answers are waiting for you. Come on. These are the answers. You can check it with your own answers. Okay, let us go for our homework. One sheet is there with me that I am going to distribute. A sheet is being distributed to practice. And what is your job? That same job, that you have to identify the clauses and write the correct answer next week. Clear? Thank you.